These are the stories topping the news. SKNLP candidates are expected to step up their campaigns. St. Lucia completes a new housing project, and we have more details about a crashed AirAsia flight. Good afternoon. Welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is January 29th. I'm Ebony Brandon. Now we take a look at the news developments in detail. Prime Minister the Right Honourable Dr. Denzil Douglas says with just over 2 weeks to go before federal elections, now is the time to buckle down and intensify canvassing of communities. In a press conference on Tuesday, he said the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party candidates will be stepping up their campaigns and continuing their outreach to communities.
The next 19 days would see the candidates really buckle down to respond to one-on-one queries, the people that they will represent in Parliament, especially those who are maybe undecided. The candidates must make themselves available. They must increase and intensify their canvassing. They must be able to identify those critical demographics that are going to be important with their particular interests from their groups being responded to.
He also encouraged those who may be against the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party to get on board with what he described as a massive movement to bring about continued progress and change in St. Kitts and Nevis. Senior Nevis Reformation Party politician Honourable Ropelto Hector says he is pleased to be representing his party alongside candidates Corey Tyson and Honourable Patrice Nesbitt. During a radio appearance this week, Hector encouraged voters to support the NRP candidates.
Corey Tyson, young, he's there. I like his drive. He's a professional. He has conducted himself that way. And I'm asking the good people of number 10 to give them their support. Patrice Nevis, the Honourable has been a worker. He's my brother and friend. I've been asking time and time again for you to look at his performance. Unassuming character, small, he moves along. Try to avoid the confusion and the bickering. But when you look at him, he has served us, and he has served us well.
Hector expressed the view that Minister Nesbitt has carried the entire population of Nevis at the federal level. Meanwhile, in an initiative by National Archives called Gems of the Archives, it's historically chronicling the development of the Federation by providing proof that St. Kitts and Nevis has achieved much since the abolition of slavery. Gems of the Archives is an initiative that was started in January 2014 by National Archivist Victoria O'Flaherty. The gems highlight some of the artifacts stored in the National Archives and are distributed via email as well as posted on the St. Kitts and Nevis Department of Culture's website and occasionally on the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Services website. She said the archives document an experience of survival that is amazing in many ways because it shows the difficulties people went through as the sugar industry declined, trying to find work, to stay employed, trying to feed their families. Archivist O'Flaherty stated that the Gems of the Archives had achieved its purpose of demonstrating that the St. Kitts and Nevis National Archives stores historical material that is worth preserving. She said it's made a lot of people aware of what the National Archives stores. She added that she hopes it's made the right impact in the right places. In regional developments, the Minister of Physical Development, Housing and Urban Renewal, together with the St. Lucia National Housing Corporation, conducted a tour of the Monkey Housing Development to mark the completion of a major project. On Wednesday, keys were handed over to the housing agency under the core unit construction component of the shelter development program.
The units are part of an overall 42 houses, which were constructed by the government of St. Lucia. The remaining 22 houses will be sold on the open market at affordable rates. Present at the handover, Housing Minister Stanley Felix says the houses were designed and built to provide Conway residents modern and decentralized housing.
Persons who are in need of shelter would be most pleased to know that after waiting for such a long time, that they are now, in a position to be the beneficiaries of the keys to their own home. This is the second phase of the Conway relocation project, and it is a project that is covered under the Shelter Development Program, more specifically called the core unit construction component of it. What we've done basically is to construct 42 housing units, 3 different house types, obviously at 3 different price points. And today you are witnessing the handing over of the keys because the construction element of it has been completed.
42 sets of keys were handed to the St. Lucia National Housing Corporation. Approximately 32 families from Conway have so far been relocated to the community of Moshi.
The cost price of the houses have been determined but not ratified and approved by Cabinet. We're hoping that sometime next week or the week after, we will take that document to Cabinet, asking of them to approve of the rates. But I could tell you the prices will be very affordable in that it will be under $200,000.
The minister conducted a site visit of the housing development on Wednesday. The contract for the construction of the housing development was awarded to Construction and Industrial Equipment Limited and was managed by the National Housing Corporation. Jade Brown, HTS News Force.
A Guyana public servant who was fired because he refused to submit to the fingerprinting biometric system used for checking in and out of work at the Ministry of Agriculture has won his case in court. The judge has ordered that he be reinstated to his position.
The dismissal of Agriculture Ministry employee Gregory Mentor was ruled null and void by Chief Justice Ian Chang last week. Mentor was dismissed last year by Secretary of the Public Service Commission, Jai Gobain Jai Singh, for failing to comply with the new fingerprinting biometric system installed at the ministry. Guyana Public Service Union Industrial Relations Officer Dennis English said the union was not in favor of the system.
In our view, it can be a violation towards person's fundamental right, because you're asking persons now to use their fingerprint, right, as a means of recording their time. When you had a system, a traditional system in place, the system is still there, it's working, and we question, the reason behind doing this.
In the presence of the media and GPSU industrial relations officers, a court-martial served the documents on the commission. Similar documents will be served on Hyder Ali, Permanent Secretary of the Public Service Ministry.
He was dismissed by the Secretary of the Commission, who obviously has no authority and would have acted outside the scope of authority, as mentioned ultra vires. He's not a commissioner, he's just a secretary. Then to compound the situation, the commission was not in session. The commission was out of session, they were not sitting.
English said due to intimidation at the level of the Public Service Ministry, the workers bowed to pressure, but Mentor stood his ground.
Mentor stood up for his rights. He maintained that he has a fundamental right, and what they were doing, asking him to use his fingerprint, he could not have concluded that the system was one that is properly secured.
German Herman Steiner, not the GPSU Industrial Relations Officer, said apart from being reinstated to his job, Mentor was awarded $50,000 in damages.
What I want to see, and I want the message to get across clear to this government and all the cabinet members, that no one is above the law. No one is above the law, and as long as the Guyana Public Service Union is here, we will continue to ensure that members' rights will not be trampled upon.
Mentor was not available for comment as he's out of the country. Reporting for Capital News, Ivor Wharton.
Internationally, the co-pilot of an AirAsia flight that clashed into the Java Sea last month was at the controls when it went down, killing all 162 people on board. Al Jazeera's Step Vaesen reports from Jakarta.
So there are no conclusions so far about what exactly has been the cause of the accident. Those conclusions about is it a human error or a technical error, we can only expect in around 6 months from now, or maybe even 1 year from now. But what we do know is that exactly the co-pilot was flying the plane, and also that the plane was in good condition when it took off. And also what we know is that the pilot requested to increase its altitude because he was avoiding apparently very dangerous clouds. So when that happened, apparently the plane increased its altitude very quickly and very fast, which basically looks like this. So it was a very steep curve that the plane had at that time. And then the stall alarms went off. And stalling basically means that the wings of the plane can't carry the plane up any longer and it goes down. And that's exactly what the investigators have found in the data recorders, that basically the plane went down from there. And it went down quite slowly. It took around 3 minutes, probably very scary minutes for the 162 people on board. And then the data basically stopped just before the plane hit the ocean. So that's basically all the facts that were presented to us earlier this morning.
A so-called Long March movement by students in Myanmar is growing in size against a new controversial education law. The protesters are walking 600 kilometers from Mandalay to Myanmar's biggest city, Yangon, in demonstration against perceived curbs on educational freedoms. Al Jazeera's Erica Wood explains.
It started out as a small group, but a determined one. Chanting as they go, "We students are united." But since they set off from Mandalay last Tuesday, the demonstration has been gathering in attention and size. Along the way, monks and others have joined in. The students are angry over a new national education law. They say it's authoritarian and restricts intellectual freedom and activities on university campuses.
This education law will further downgrade the university education system, so we want to raise public awareness of this critical issue. That's why we are marching.
As they get nearer to Yangon, they've got the government's attention. Security forces have been deployed, and in the early hours of Wednesday morning, they blocked the march's path, calling the protest unlawful. But the students have carried on, saying changes must be made.
A better education system will benefit all the people of this country. What we want is an education system that must be democratic.
The government has now told students it'll hold formal negotiations on Sunday with proposals to revise the law. The students have continued walking towards Yangon and say if the talks fail, they'll hold a sit-in until their demands are met. Erica Wood, Al Jazeera.
Now for a look at today's weather forecast. Temperatures will reach a high today of 24 degrees Celsius, with winds blowing east-southeasterly at 7 to 14 miles per hour, becoming lighter and variable or even calm tonight. We can expect partly sunny skies in general today, becoming cloudy at times, with periods of isolated to widely scattered showers. Sunset today will be at 6:05 p.m. That wraps up the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. I'm Ebony Brandon. Good afternoon.